Just before the video starts, I just wanted to say, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, here we go. It's terrible. Wait, what? What have I seen? What is this?
Let's just establish a new rule here. If you're too drunk to drive, you're too drunk to review a movie. Can we all agree with that? Because I don't want to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Best of the Worst, on my feed ever again.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is without a doubt the best movie that Marvel have put out since No Way Home.
No Way Home is absolutely not better than this movie, but let's proceed.
Yeah, No Way Home's not better than that movie.
Which I know in retrospect is a bit like saying, that guy was the most intelligent frontal lobotomy victim that I've ever met.
Goodbye, sir. I will not even dignify that argument with a response.
The slick and polished efficiency of its predecessors is missing. The script lurches chaotically between dark, serious body horror and personal tragedy one minute, and goofy slapstick comedy the next.
There wasn't a tragedy shown before the scene with the spacesuits. We're still early into Rocket's origin. That's not until later in the film, which is right after Peter and Groot are confronting the High Evolutionary for the first time. After the tragedy takes place, we see Rocket's escape plan and how he flies away from the building. Sure, there's a joke made in the next scene, but they didn't just cut straight to the joke. They transitioned into a different scene before throwing jokes in our faces.
The movie picks up with Rocket, Quill, and the other Guardians chilling out in their new base in nowhere, when suddenly this big gold arsehole shows up and starts fucking the place up. Well, until Nebula shoves a sword through his gut and apparently kills him, but then later on he's like, nah, it'll be fine, and leaves while everyone else is distracted. What exactly are his powers and abilities again?
I don't know, but he's stronger than everyone.
Because he seems to be almost comparable to Captain Marvel in terms of strength and combat power. He can fly through solid walls like they're made out of paper, but then a simple bladed weapon is enough to take him down. Ah, whatever.
First of all, the blade went through his chest and likely impacted some of the most important parts of his body. Second of all, being able to fly and smash through walls doesn't mean you can't be affected by blades. Spider-Man is easily able to tear through walls, but you can still stab him.
The point is that Rocket got
Correct, this guy's a point.
critically injured in the fight and needs urgent medical attention. Well, I guess it's not that urgent because he's still got like 48 hours to live, so whatever.
Apparently having 48 hours to live doesn't call for serious urgency. It doesn't matter if he has 48 hours to live, they still have to overcome the High Evolutionary's obstacles, which they don't even know how long that will take or how difficult that will be. Just because there's a time limit doesn't mean it isn't urgent. If anything, that's the opposite.
The problem is that his body's been fitted with a kill switch that will activate if they try to fuck with him. The only way to disarm it is to track down his original creator and steal the deactivation codes. It sounds simple enough, but this being a Guardians movie, nothing ever goes according to plan. They're able to
Well,
infiltrate
yeah, they've got to make it somewhat difficult, you fucking idiot. Otherwise, the movie will be over in 10 minutes. You
the
fucking
high
meek.
security research station where the code's being held, but oh no, the one piece of information that they actually need has been downloaded into someone else's brain, so now they have to track him down instead.
What kind of complaint is that? All he did was list several obstacles they had to deal with, and acted as if this proved it was bad writing. That was such a nothing statement.
This movie is all over the fucking
This review's a nothing burger, literally.
place. Almost every dramatic scene has to be undercut by some quippy joke or ridiculous slapstick comedy.
You claim that almost every dramatic scene is like this, but you don't even give any references for it. At most, he shows a joke that is made in the scene where Peter is telling Gamora about what his version of Gamora meant to him, but that's not even a heavily dramatic scene. Gamora literally messes up his name, which slots into the scene displaying how disconnected they truly are, while also bringing some levity to the scene because it's not a highly serious or dramatic moment, which makes it easier to transition into a much lighter scene. Those more serious scenes show up later in the film as we start to witness the lasting consequences of these interactions, or reach much more significant, intense moments.
And it's so goddamn jarring and irritating because the serious moments are so much darker and more impactful than before.
Notice how there isn't a single joke in the scene where Rocket's friends are killed.
I mean, would it kill you to just let a dramatic scene sink in for a minute or two?
You
Are
mean
you fucking me? Like, he's... Okay. What the hell? He's saying about it not sinking in, yeah? But it sinks in. This scene is the definition of letting it sink in. Like literally the
Mean
definition of
like
it.
in the scene you just showed?
It doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the jokes are about as funny as a 2-hour conversation with a vegan climate activist too. Like, remember Taserface from part 2? Remember how James Gunn ran that joke into the fucking ground when it wasn't even that funny to begin with? Well, that's basically your introduction to the bulk of the humor
Well, maybe you didn't find it funny, but you know, it was kind of funny.
in this movie.
So, he has no references at all for this in the third movie. Alright then. As for Taserface in the second movie, while humor is always going to come down to the person, I don't see how repeated jokes about his name took away from the movie. The variety of those jokes is built on different contexts. The joke is first made when Rocket is in disbelief at how horrible his name is, and it's last made when Taserface is trying to have a dramatic ending where he tries to deliver epic last words.
Tell him the name of the
So it was done twice when he's saying it was overdone. Overdone is doing it I would say overdoing it is 4 or 5 times. 2 times is definitely not doing it. And if it's spaced out, it's even more not doing it, you know?
man what sealed his fate. Taserface.
Sure, it's making fun of the same thing but in different ways. That's how running gags can be done well, kinda like the language joke in Age of Ultron.
The pacing is also a big problem, especially in the first half of the film. For example, there's an excruciating 30-minute sequence where the gang have to infiltrate a high-security facility to get the code
How long do you want it to be? 10 minutes? Like,
for Rocket's kill switch. It sounds fun, but it's basically just an excuse to have some goofy comedy scenes and ridiculously outlandish set design.
The Orgocorp sequence moves the plot forward and adds obstacles for our heroes to overcome, and it builds upon the disconnect between Peter and Gamora, which helps contribute to his arc of learning to let go. And what's wrong with the set design? You can't just call it outlandish and call
bro,
it a
that
day.
set design is fucking sick, like.
The set design perfectly fits for the bioformed outer layer of the building and does a great job implementing a unique style, so this setting feels like one of a kind, rather than some generic looking environment.
Also, is that a reference to Among Us? If so, fucking why?
Does it matter?
Anyway, by the time it's all done, the one piece of information they actually need has been removed and taken somewhere else.
Basically, no one else has a better idea. So fuck it.
It's the same kind of time-wasting busy work that forms the backbone of, well, every single Mandalorian episode.
How is this time wasting? First of all, you're already incorrect. They gather footage from the files that gives them a direct lead. Second of all, why would they make it that easy for the Guardians? That would make for a very short and overly
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
simplistic plot if it took one mission for them to get the one thing they need to achieve their main objective in the film. You're asking for something worse.
Exactly.
Good job.
And I guess I just kind of expected more from
Bro, I'm tempted to think that these people that have a go at movies just don't like movies and don't want to watch like long movies. They just want to watch like a half an hour short film. Like, bro, you're complaining about people people trying to do this one objective and things getting in their way. Have you ever like tried, you know, where you want to go do something but you've got to do loads of things before, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that, but it's like you've got to do it because you want to get to that thing, you know?
James Gunn. Problems like this contribute to a bloated runtime of 2.5 hours, which is about 30 minutes longer than the first Guardians, and man, you really start to feel it by the ends. It also means
No, you don't. When I went to go watch this movie in the cinema, it was amazing. I actually don't think I did go to watch this in the cinema. I don't know. I think I might have. I think I did. No, I did. Either way, good movie.
the film doesn't really have time
And I don't think, from what I can remember, I don't remember having a problem with it, with that.
give its cast proper character arcs.
So he's not even giving references for why the character arcs aren't done properly. In which case, I'm just gonna give a response of equal substance since this is the best he can give us. Go watch the film again.
Or tackle the bigger ideas that it tries to grapple with, like the conflict between control and free will, and whether a
Like, why can't people just respect a good movie nowadays? They've always got to have some sort, like, I get nitpicks, yeah, having little nitpicks, but having a go at a full movie, yeah, having a go at a full movie because you can, and because you don't like it, mate. If you don't like the movie, fair enough. you don't like the movie, but don't go on YouTube and social media and say, oh, this movie's fucking shit, when everybody else is saying, oh, this movie's amazing, this movie's great, when you're the one person that's saying it's shit when it's a good movie, and you're just complaining for no reason. Like,
Utopia can never actually exist without someone there to micromanage it. There's a lot of interesting ideas to explore there, but it's all introduced so late in the film that the script just doesn't have time to flesh it out.
They literally do explore this from the beginning of Rocket's origin story. The main point regarding the High Evolutionary's vision of a utopia is that it's unrealistic, and it's driven by his hatred for how things are. He has to keep starting from scratch again and again whenever things aren't to his liking. That tells us that even if he succeeds in retrieving Rocket's brain, he's going to find another reason to hate things the way they were and feel the need to start over again until he reaches perfection.
Also, I can't quite shake the idea that the whole thing was done just because James Gunn thought it'd be a cool idea to have anthropomorphized animals walking around the suburban streets. It's the same deal with the characters. Rocket gets the lion's share of the narrative, but it leaves characters like Quill and Gamora awkwardly sidelines.
Even though both of them have several scenes disconnected from Rocket that focus on Peter's struggle to move on from Gamora and how this affects Gamora's impression of Peter. It builds up over time to the point Gamora gets angry and wants to leave as soon as possible, but not having that opportunity forces her to grow into a hero like the original Gamora has, just through a different route. And throughout that journey, Peter eventually moves on and realizes that his losses don't have to define his life. He can go back to what he's been running from and try to make up for lost time. None of Rocket's scenes get in the way of Peter's journey of reaching that point.
I mean, I found myself not really caring about their relationship anyway because Gamora is such a total arsehole towards everyone.
Well, it's a good thing it doesn't actually turn into a relationship in the end.
Like, I get that this is supposed to be an earlier version of the character without all the personal growth of the previous movies, but even the Gamora at the start of the first film was nowhere near as shitty a person as this one.
Substantiate that.
what?
Nebula spends most of the movie just standing around yelling at people, and it's not funny or endearing, it's just screechy and irritating.
Almost like she has to grow from this in the movie, and they showcase that growth by having her recognize Drax's strengths and encouraging him to be a father figure for all those kids who
This
need
guy doesn't understand, like, he doesn't understand it. He just doesn't. This guy, he doesn't understand. It makes no fucking sense. Like, it makes no sense.
guidance.
Adam Warlock is given
These people, where? It pissed me
a
off.
strong intro, but it's like the writers didn't know what to do with him after those first 5 minutes, so he just kind of shows up from time to time and then leaves.
And during the times he shows up, he goes on a journey where he experiences loss and betrayal, and we see how this takes a toll on his character. But when he's shown compassion by the Guardians of the Galaxy, despite how many times he tried to kill them, he gets inspired to change his lifestyle. He already felt some kind of discomfort from the work he does, and being shown a better way of living by the Guardians helps inform his newer perspective. So he literally tries to be like them in the end. He doesn't just show up and leave like Drinker claims here.
Oh, and for some reason the Guardians have all
Exactly.
ditched
He changes his character. He changes who he is because, of course, he doesn't like what he's doing, and it shows character growth, and it shows that being a good person being a good person can show other people to be good, and that's
cool individual
amazing.
outfits from the previous films, and now they all just wear these bland generic uniforms that look dull and depressing.
Goodbye, sir. I will not even dignify that argument with a response.
And maybe someone can help me here, but why exactly did Quill decide to ditch his helmet and rocket boots? Two things that would have been extremely useful to him later in this movie.
I'm sensing some EFAP criticisms here. Don't worry, I have an entire video on that coming out in a few days, so I'll just let the premiere play out instead of repeating myself in this video. I'll leave you in suspense for this one.
These various problems are compounded by the usual self-indulgent cameos for James Gunn's brother Sean and James Gunn's wife Jennifer Hollins. Oh my goodness, I just can't figure out why all these people with personal connections to James Gunn keep showing up in James Gunn movies. Must be a total coincidence.
Is there a problem with that? Everything okay here, Drinker?
Even the soundtrack
Yeah, like, I don't know what, like, if you had friends and stuff, like, why wouldn't you want, like, if they said, oh, can I be in your movie and stuff, wouldn't you want to say yeah? Like, wouldn't you want to be that person that says, oh yeah, you could be in the movie? That'd be quite cool, actually. Like, he doesn't
that
understand.
punctuated the original movie is just way overdone here. Now it feels like James Gunn just went through his entire music collection and made it his personal mission to shove as much of it into this movie as possible. Most of the time it doesn't really tie into what's happening on screen like the previous movies did, and honestly, it got to the point where I was actually starting to get pissed off with all the shitty pop songs undercutting the action. It was like Gunn was just trying to show off how much of a music connoisseur he is.
No, it's not. He's right. The music, the soundtrack, the reason why it's like that is because Quill is a music nerd, like me, kind of. And he has good taste in music, and that's what we come for.
Goodbye, sir.
Good music.
I will not even dignify that argument with a response.
All these problems add up to a frustratingly uneven, uncharacteristically bloated,
And plus, all the other movies have had really good soundtracks. Why? I don't see the issue. I don't know why he cares about the soundtrack. It's just good music. Like what?
messy and self-indulgent sort of film that feels like a real step down from the first two in narrative.
What? It gives you a heartbreaking story, but a feel-good one at that. It's heartbreaking, then it just makes you want to cry. This movie, it really does, and it hits so fucking hard. I haven't watched it for like a long time, but I still know how much it will hit. But because that's why I don't want to watch it, because it hits you so hard because it's such a good movie. You just can't, you can't.
Terms. And I was kind of curious to know why this stuff might have happened, so I did a bit of digging, and wouldn't you know it, this is actually the first Guardians movie where Gunn has got sole writing credit. The first two films were co-written by veteran author Dan Abnett, plus a couple of other contributors, and I suspect those guys were largely responsible for reining Gunn in and keeping things on track. Without those checks and balances in place, he was free to indulge his every whim as a writer, and well, look what we ended up with.
We ended up with a great conclusion to the trilogy. I will say that it is reasonable to think that additional writers...
Oh my god. This guy's pissing me off. He's such a good movie. Shut the fuck up.
...can be useful to the process, and there's an interesting discussion to be had about putting people in check to ensure the director's vision gets carried out properly. But it's not absolutely necessary, and I think James Gunn did an incredible job in the end.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're really invested in the Guardians movies, then you'll probably get a kick out of their final adventure, but I can't say it was quite the epic send-off I was hoping for.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's better than 1 and 2. I don't even care what anybody else says. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is better than 1 and 2, and is one of the best Marvel movies you will probably ever fucking watch. It's so good. It has minimal ties to Endgame and Infinity War, but if you just watch them, if you watch Infinity War and Endgame, and then you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you'll understand. It's mainly Gamora that you need to know about, because if you haven't watched it, then spoilers. But it's been out for a long time. But of course, because she dies, and then they meet an early Gamora, and then she doesn't know Quill at this point before they even meet, and then it just becomes a big issue because she ends up going with them. But you'll see that in the movie. But it's such a good movie. It's so fucking good. It's just amazing. But yeah, good. That was a good video. Amazing.